What's up, everybody, and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I was feeling a little charitable. You know, it was raining outside, it was kind of gloomy day, and I was like, you know what I want to do? I want to give something back. I want to give back. So today, I am giving you all a tutorial. And that tutorial is for a move known as the Helix Aerial to Pinkie Catch, which looks like that. This is a move that I've seen a number of people do, and I really like it, but it took me quite a while to actually find like a good tutorial on it. So what I'm going to be doing today is not only giving you a tutorial on this move, but also how I get out of it and different ways you can get out of it. So a couple examples of that. So let's jump right into this move. Okay, so the first thing you need to know is how to do a Helix Aerial, and that is relatively simple. You just start with the knife like this, open in your hand. You take it, let go, and you want to be holding, I guess technically you want to be holding the bite handle, because the Helix Aerial is one of those aerials where when you throw the knife, you will end up holding the opposite handle that you started on. So I was holding the bite handle, and I caught the safe handle. Now, to do a Helix Aerial, you just take your, you hold the bite handle, throw it back like this, and then you let go of the knife in this direction like that, okay? And normally you'd be doing it underhanded. I did it overhand there, which is really not the right way to do it. But you throw it underhanded like this, upwards. There you go. So once again, start with the knife like this, turn your hand down while also doing a wrist pass type thing. You want to keep the blade from cutting you, and then you throw it out this way. Now, the reason it's called a Helix Aerial is because you can do it from a helix. So if you know how to do the helix like that, well, if you just don't stop it and instead you just throw it, that's the Helix Aerial, right? So that's why it's called the Helix Aerial. You can do it from other positions. You don't need to, you can just crack the knife back like that and throw it. You don't have to do a helix beforehand. It's just very helpful to know that you can do it out of a helix, because that's what allows you to put it into combos. So, consider you're doing a helix and then you throw it, and now you can go into your Helix Aerial and have that be part of whatever combo you want. So voila. Then the next part of that is once you've got the aerial down, which, as I said before, it's good to start with the bite handle on this aerial, because you will end up catching the safe handle, right? And that's relatively important. There are ways to go about it if you do catch the bite handle. For instance, one of them is you catch it with your pinky and then you throw the knife again. And that will do a handle switch over, and then you'll end up back where you started, so like that, and now I'm holding the safe handle again, right? But if you want to do the way that I do of getting out of it, generally speaking, it's probably best for you to be catching the safe handle when you throw it into that move, and so you want to start with the bite handle, because this is a handle switching throw. Okay, so now that we are here, now that we've done a helix, and we get to the aerial, you want to essentially throw the knife up from your hand like this. Okay, so you're letting go of the knife, it's twirling through the air, and then what you're doing is bringing your hand around and under and letting this part fall in, and you catch it. Okay, so I'm going to do that one more time. So we go from here, we throw it like this, the knife spins through the air, and you go and catch the other handle as it falls into your hand. That's how that's working. You can see I'm literally just bringing my hand around and letting the knife fall into that spot, okay? Just like that, okay. So once you've got that down, you need to practice the Helix Aerial a lot, because that is the motion that you're going for, okay? You're trying to scoop your hand underneath it and let it fall into your hand so you can catch it. There are other ways to do the Helix Aerial. You can do one where you catch it like that overhand. So you throw it up and then you catch it overhand. And you can do a Pinkie Catch overhand Helix Aerial, but we're not going to get into that in this video. Right now I just want to talk about that one. So to let the knife fall into your hand is all about that timing. Once you've got that timing down, then and only then you can start working on the pinky part. Now, this is one I absolutely suggest doing with a trainer, because if you're learning this, you're going to be dropping it a lot. It's a dropping based trick. It's all about just figuring out the timing. And so if you're like me and you've got socks on, you're probably going to end up stabbing your feet, and you don't want that. So I would suggest starting with the trainer and then working your way up to a live blade with this trick. So to get the pinky catch itself, all you need to do is put out your hand, close all your fingers, and then you just got your pinky, right? And that's all you need to do. It's the same thing as catching it normally like this, except you're catching it like that, right? So you're just instead of using your whole hand, you're just using your pinky, all right? And I know it sounds kind of weird, but believe me, it's weirdly natural once you do it. Like, it takes a few times until you get it, but then the first time you do it, you're gonna be like, oh wow, that felt weirdly good. Technically, this is a infinite combo too. But yeah, it feels shockingly good when you do it, and that's the pinky catch. Okay, so to get that catch down, once again, we're taking it, we're throwing it from the aerial. It's going up and around like this, and this time, instead of using my entire hand, I'm closing my fingers and letting it fall into where my pinky is like that, right? And what's nice about this as it comes down is you actually are kind of creating a perfect slot, because the knife is rotating in this direction and your hand is like this, and so it's actually kind of coming in and slotting into where your pinky is perfectly, like naturally from the momentum, right? So that comes in, hits like that, you catch it, and you bring it around and out, okay? And so, to bring it around and out is the other part of this. You need to be doing basically a wrist pass, but with your pinky, okay? So obviously you're not holding it, but you're doing the same exact motion as a wrist pass, but you're just holding it with that pinky, all right? The reason you want to be doing a wrist pass here is because if you do accidentally catch the bite handle side, you don't want it slamming right into your pinky like that. Like, that would be very regrettable. So by doing a wrist pass, you're keeping that blade away from your pinky and keeping it from cutting you. Ooh, that was a close one. Okay, so with this guy, what I'm going to do now is the move. We do that. We get to our pinky catch, okay, and I'm going to do a wrist pass. Now, there's two things you can do to get out of here. I think the first one, and probably the easiest one to just, like, let yourself do, is going to be to let go, all right? So you're going to do a wrist pass and let go, and look at that. You just threw a second Helix Aerial, okay? So it's one Helix Aerial, you catch it, wrist pass, second Helix Aerial, and then you can catch it with your hand. Or you could catch it with your pinky again and just keep that going, because you're a badass and you're better at flipping than I am, and you know, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you just infinite pinky aerial? That seems like a thing to do, you know? Everybody loves that. So yeah, you can just throw that into another Helix Aerial from your pinky catch, and that's a really, really nice looking way to kind of get out of what you just did, and then you can move on to whatever else from there. The way that I like to get out of this, though, is a little bit different than just throwing it again. Though, oftentimes, if I'm catching it on the bite side, and I know I am, I will throw it again just to get back to the safe side and then move on from there, because, you know, I'd prefer to be on the safe side when doing my combo. And so if you want to do the combo that I'm about to show you, you really want to make sure you're catching the safe side and not the blade side. All right, so now let's try the Helix Aerial again, but this time we're going to make sure we're throwing from the bite handle. All right, so we throw it up, we catch it, and here you will notice I've got it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do that wrist pass again, but this time, instead of keeping my hand closed and throwing it again, I'm actually going to extend my middle finger, okay? Like that, right? And I'm actually extending both of these fingers so that I'm not like, because if I just extended my middle finger, my other fingers would kind of be in the way of this trick. So you extend these two fingers and you kind of make a peace sign, but like sideways, you make an L, right? Like that, okay? And I'm extending my thumb too, I guess. So start here with this catch. You go underneath and extend these two fingers at the same time, like that, okay? And what's happening here is you can see I'm kind of getting ready to throw the knife around my middle finger, okay? So I'm just going to go like this and throw the knife around, and now I've caught the other handle with my thumb and middle finger. And then I can bring that up and basically do a cherry picker out of it, and then you can do whatever you want from there. And so essentially what I'm kind of doing is I'm like catching it halfway through a cherry picker, and I'm just continuing that momentum out of it, okay? So watch that again, making sure I'm throwing from the bite side. I throw up, catch it here, and I'm going to turn my hand over and extend these three fingers at the same time, okay, making this kind of weird shape here. So you catch it like this, extend your fingers while you turn it over, throw that handle over your middle finger, and then kind of catch it using your middle finger bending, and then throw that over your thumb, and you're out here. And then you can do literally whatever you want from there. and that's a lot of fun. Okay, so now let's talk a little more specifics about how to actually get the throwing action. So one thing with the Helix Aerial is you want to throw it slower than you think you need to. If you throw it really quickly, you'll find this happening, right? Where you're catching, oh, yeah, ooh, where you're doing that. So don't throw it too fast, because you might end up regretting that. So you want to throw it slowly. You want to throw it slow enough that you can watch the handles go and kind of keep track of which handle you're trying to grab, okay? You don't need to like jet into your Helix Aerial. It's going to only mess you up like that. So instead, you want to take it nice and slow and give it a little chuck. You also want to make sure you're giving it enough upwards momentum to really kind of float through the air, right? You want this to look pretty effortless, and so by giving it that extra lift, that extra amount of airtime, that's going to allow it to rotate slower and allow you to watch it better as it goes through the air. And I think it makes the trick look even cooler too, because you know, you have that nice bit of airtime. So that's my first tip, is absolutely try to take it nice and slow. You don't need to speed into this aerial. You can really give that a minute to breathe. Another thing here too is with that catch, you know, it's a very fluid way of catching it. It feels very nice to get into and get out of, but it will take a lot of time, and all it is practice. So for me, it took forever for me to actually get the aerial down, but once I did, I can do it pretty effortlessly if I'm trying. And so that's kind of the big deal, right? Is it's really just about practice. It's about spending the amount of time that you need to and doing it over and over and over again until you get the timing down, because that's all it is it's timing, right? It's an aerial. Aerials are almost always just learning the timing of something and not actually, you know, it's not like moves with your fingers where you're doing ladders or rollovers or whatever. You know, with aerials, it's almost exclusively timing and nothing else. And so that's what this is it's all about learning that timing. And learning timing takes time. So, yeah, that's just kind of the thick and thin of it. Okay, so we've got the Helix Aerial. You do a helix, and then you pop into an aerial. You catch it with your pinky, and you can either do a wrist pass and just throw it again. Oh, wow, I keep doing that. I'm quite the pro today. So you can either do another helix and then catch it, or you can do my little getting out of it thing where you go under your finger, and that one feels very nice to do. It feels very fluid, and I realized literally while I was filming it that could be an infinite combo. So you can go into there, go around the thumb, and then you're doing another helix, and you can do that, catch it again, go around there, around the thumb, do another helix, and so you can you can combo spam that one. I wonder if you could get like really fast at it. That might be something that I try to do, because that sounds really stupid. Oh yeah, look at that. That's weirdly fun, actually. That is a very satisfying infinite combo right there. Sorry, now I'm just distracted doing this. Oh, come on. Oh man, that one took me a really long time to learn, by the way. One thing you need to watch out for is as you're going under your hand here, you need to be very careful, especially if you're using a live blade. So as I showed you, you start by grabbing the safe handle. When you're throwing the blade under your middle finger here, though, you need to notice the blade is passing right next to your palm, like in the direction of your palm too, right? So that feels very scary. And so you do need to be aware that like that blade is going to be coming at your palm, okay? And you could do it the bite handle way, but as I said, then you're catching it with the blade coming at your pinky. However, that does reverse it, so the back of the blade is going across your palm and then also around your hand. And so it's up to you which makes you more uncomfortable / less uncomfortable, but be aware as you're throwing the blade around your middle finger upside down, you need to make sure that you have good posture with your hand so that you have that distance between the blade and your palm, because otherwise if you're using a live blade, you could come in here and just like sear your palm like a nice little steak, and that would be no good. So don't do that. Don't palm sear, please. We would not like that here. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this move. This is a favorite of mine. I really, really like the way this thing looks. Another variation you could kind of try on this is what I like to call a reverse Helix Aerial, right? So you're, instead of doing a Helix Aerial, you're literally just kind of doing a standard aerial like that, right? So you're just throwing it backwards, except you're doing it sideways. So you're throwing it backwards but sideways. And then you add an extra layer to that by catching that with your pinky. I just did it a second ago. Let's see if I can do it again. You're catching that with your pinky, all right? Instead of grabbing it like this with your hand, you're just stopping the momentum. So you're throwing it like this, it's flying through the air, and then you're kind of scooping in with your pinky and grabbing it, and then you can do stuff from there. So one of the combos that I was doing from that is throwing it, catching it, and then throwing it backwards and around my middle finger like that, and you can kind of go into whatever from there. Right, so that way is the front way, and if you want to reverse it, you kind of do this. Look at that. Feels very nice. And so yeah, that's a variation that you can attempt on it. It's something that I figured out just the other day, is that kind of variation. It's a lot of fun. That one, though, so as I said before, the original Helix Aerial, you switch handles. So I started on the bite handle, and I ended up catching the safe handle, right? You switch handles. Well, this aerial, if you do it this way, right, so you're throwing that way, very loud, you're actually going to end up catching the same handle that you started with, okay? So you need to be a little careful about that, and make sure that on that one you're probably not going to want to throw the bite handle. You're probably only going to want to throw the safe handle, because you will be catching the safe handle on the other side, all right, with that timing. So you throw the safe handle, it spins around, and you catch the safe handle, and then you can do whatever. And with that, you're doing the same pinky thing, except you're scooping in on it. You know, you're trying to like grab it with your pinky instead of letting it fall in. You're scooping out. It's literally a reverse of the first move in a lot of ways. Like it kind of messes with your brain the first time you try to do it, because the first time, you know, obviously you're trying to do this, and so reversing all of those commands and doing it backwards is strange, but weirdly satisfying. So yeah. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this one. Once again, this is seriously one of my favorite moves. I've been using it a lot recently. It's been something I've really been a fan of. The only problem is it's not something I'm probably going to use a lot in the reviews, unless I'm standing over an area where I won't damage the knife that I'm flipping. Because people have asked before, oh, why don't you like flip better in the reviews? You know, I post videos on Instagram where I'm flipping really hardcore, and then we get the reviews and I'm like doing kind of weak flipping. And it's because a lot of the times when we're filming, I've got this knife that either is a review sample so I can't damage it, or it's my own knife but it's kind of expensive so I can't damage it, or we haven't shot the B-roll yet, and so we need the knife to look pretty for the B-roll, so I can't damage it. So a lot of times I can't really like super badly drop the knife, or we're filming over like water at a stream at a park or something, and if I drop the knife in the water, it's probably just going to be gone, which is bad. So I generally have to be kind of careful while I'm flipping, and so every once in a while I will go hard with the flipping, but it's only when I'm over an area where it's okay to do that, like grass or leaves. I'll generally try to avoid doing it over dirt or rocks, you know, but if I'm over grass or leaves, then I'll finally be able to unleash a little bit and do some of the more intense flipping that I've wanted to. And so yeah, that's some of the ideas there, and why this trick hasn't been super featured in a lot of videos, but it is something that I've been practicing quite a bit and enjoying. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. I hope that you guys learned something from this. I hope that my ramblings were at least somewhat coherent, and maybe you learned how to do this trick. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Anyways, I'll see y'all next time. Peace.